Welcome. And I'm so excited for you to go on this journey of writing your personal statement to get into medical school. And the personal statement is an extremely crucial and important part of the medical school admissions process. Now, if you guys know anything about me, I'm numbers driven, I'm very objective about things and what you can do to improve your chance of getting in medical school. But let's set the baseline. Let's set the baseline so we all are on the same page. The number one factor that goes into any medical school admissions decision is going to be your MCAT score. And then filed after the MCAT score, it's going to be your GPA. So what happens is a lot of medical schools, they'll actually use computers to screen people out who do not meet the minimum threshold for the MCAT or GPA. So, with that said, the third most important factor that goes into getting into medical school is going to be your personal statement. So, you need to take it seriously. And again, I want to put things in context. I already told you about how computers screen everybody out based on MCAT score and GPA. So, that means when an AdCom is looking at your personal statement, they basically know, okay, this applicant has the GPA and MCAT score that we're seeking out applicants. And now this is your chance to shine. Come off the paper and let us know things about you that cannot be found anywhere else in your application. Because you have to remember, now that I'm looking at your application, there's hundreds, thousands of other applicants who made the cutoff, but how do you distinguish yourself from everybody who's applying? Because again, you can only slice and dice MCAT scores and GPAs in so many ways. So the personal statement, excuse me, is your chance to really show who you are and tell AdComs what you bring to the table for getting into medical school. So that's why it's very important that you take this portion of applying to medical school seriously, because AdComs aren't having you write your personal statement or your medical school essay just for the heck of it because they want to make the process more rigorous or harder than what it needs to be. No, there's actually a method to their madness. We want to gain insight of who you are as a person. We want to know why medicine, why do you want to go to medical school, why do you want to be a doctor, and then also why you. Out of everybody who's applying to medical school, why should we take a chance on you with one of the limited spots that we have available in our incoming medical school class? So that's the stage, that's the framework, that's what your goal and objective is with your personal statement. And oftentimes pre-med, you guys get worried, you get concerned because basically you have a blank slate and it's, how do I tell my life story in about a page and a half, or the character limit that you have, the 5,300 character limit that you have. It's very difficult, so you need to be very strategic in what you're doing. And one of the best ways to do that is have an overall arching theme to your entire application that also comes through in your personal statement, so that if anybody who's reading your personal statement, they can readily identify what you bring to the table and you answer the two most important questions for medical school. Why medicine and why you? We're going to go into a lot more detail on these topics and subject areas, but I wanted to kind of give you a baseline and understanding and overall umbrella picture of where we're going to be moving forward with in this process of helping you get into medical school when it comes to your personal statement. And again, with writing, it does not happen overnight. Writing is a process. So don't think that you're going to just sit down at your computer and start typing out and have an immaculate, amazing personal statement. No, it takes time. And one of the things I always tell the students that I work with on their personal statement, you cannot rush this process. Yes, you can type and get your 5,300 character essay complete in a day. That's entirely possible. But then you have to ask yourself, is this going to stand out compared to everybody else who's applying? And also timelines. You're going to apply to medical school in about June. And then you're going to do secondaries over the summer into the fall. And so you have to ask yourself, this personal statement that you wrote in May and June, is that going to be something that you're proud of when it's November, December, and January? And if not, you're going to be in a world of trouble, because if you're not proud of it, I can guarantee the AdComs aren't going to see anything special or unique in your personal statement. So that's why you really want to take your time with this process, because what you write now has to carry you throughout the entire medical school application cycle. And here's a tidbit of knowledge that you may or may not know. If you work on your personal statement, that personal statement goes out to all the medical schools that you decide to apply to. So if you write personal statement, get it done, hit submit, and start applying to like 5 or 10 medical schools, and then realize, oh my goodness, I have some errors in my personal statement. I want to correct this. You do not have that luxury. You do not have that capability. Once submitted, it's final. And so let's say caught this error and you want to apply to additional medical schools. It's not like you can go in and say, oh, I need to update my personal statement before I apply to the additional medical schools. Nope, sorry, you're out of luck. You still have to move forward with that original personal statement and medical school application that you have. So again, this is another reason why you need to take this seriously. And the biggest thing is, as a pre-med, you have to put yourself in the shoes of AdComs. We're very, very busy individuals. And so if I'm reading your personal statement, you need to grab my attention and you need to hold me throughout your essay. And by the time by the time I'm finished reading it, it needs to be a no-brainer of why I want to admit you to my medical school. And how that's going to occur is, you have to remember the number one objective of your personal statement is to get a medical school interview invite, because you're not getting into medical school without going on an interview. And so that's your sole purpose and objective in writing your personal statement, is to come across as a normal person who has promise, who has potential, and that can bring so much to the field of medicine. That's what you want to do. So as a reader, we look over it, scanning through these applications, look at yours, stop, and I'm putting it on a pile like, yes, I need to bring this applicant to our admissions committee, and you don't want to end on this pile up. Rejection, nothing to do with this applicant. They did a horrible job. And how could you do a horrible job in your personal statement for medical school? Number one reason would be not being personal enough. If I read your personal statement, it really doesn't tell me too much about you. Goodbye. Because again, it's basically a pre-interview screen. I want to see if you're even worth my time to bring into medical school interview. Another way that you could not get in would be writing a personal statement that is just a resume and prose. Basically, you take all your extracurriculars, your activities, and you share it in your personal statement paragraph by paragraph. Boring. I already have your medical school application to know about your extracurriculars, so I'm going to put your application rejection pile. You need to share new information that I cannot find anywhere else in your medical school application if you want to be successful in getting into medical school. That's what you need to do. And you need to be convincing and compelling. And also remember, you need to sell yourself to AdComs and make it a case where they understand why they should pick you for admission to medical school, or at least get you that interview invite. And so that's what I want to do with you with this component of personal statement writing. I want to walk you through step by step through the process of composing and putting together your personal statement for medical school. I want to show you multiple examples of personal statements where even going to do tear downs, where I take an actual personal statement that an applicant had planned on submitting or had submitted, and I'm going to tear it down line by line, paragraph by paragraph, telling you what I liked from it, what I didn't like, what AdComs would think about it, how you could amend, how you could change it. And we're even going to have some cases where I'll show you the entire A to Z process of what is involved when a student works with me, where a student submits a nearly complete personal statement initially, and then I review it. I provide comments and feedback extensively. And what I found most of the time, students are running in the wrong direction. So I don't even do my line by line edits. They just get a high overview synopsis of how they should move their personal statement in the next direction. And so then they get all of that feedback, and then they need to rewrite a personal statement for me. And then I'll go start diving in, working on the nitty gritty details to help them maximize their essay so it has the most impact for their reader and their chances of getting that medical school interview invite and ultimately getting accepted at a medical school, because we know that's your goal and objective. And I'm going to help you with this process so that you're not alone. You're not just researching online and getting tips and advice from people who have no idea or understanding what it actually takes to be successful in getting into medical school. Because you can find people who can edit a personal statement, but they don't know what a medical school is looking for, what a physician's looking for. Those are entirely different things from somebody who, oh, they went to law school, they're great at writing, or someone who's a English major lit professor and they want to edit your personal statement. Fine, let them edit for grammar and context. But when it comes to the actual content and how it all goes together, you need someone with a medical background who can speak particularly to what AdComs in medical schools want to see in your personal statement. But by the time you're done with me, we're going to have that all fleshed out for you. You're going to have great insight on what you need to do to present the highest quality personal statement for medical school. And I want to leave you with this concept and idea. I know I started talking about numbers and MCAT's the most important factor that goes into admissions decision, followed by GPA, and then your personal statement. Here's what you need to know. Your personal statement can make or break your chances of getting into medical school. If you have high stats, meaning high MCAT score, very strong competitive GPA, and you write a lackluster, a very boring, uninspiring personal statement, you can basically kiss your chance of getting in medical school goodbye. Yes. However, if you're a mediocre applicant based on your MCAT score and GPA, but you write a stellar, out of this world personal statement, that can skyrocket your chances of actually getting accepted to medical school. So that's the significance of your personal statement. If you're strong stats, you want to make sure that your personal statement is at a high notch. Otherwise, it could bring your entire application down. And that's why you have students who go, I don't know what happened. I thought I was doing everything possible to get into medical school. I have the MCAT score, I have the GPA, I have the extracurriculars, but they never considered what they wrote in their personal statement and how AdComs are going to view it. And that's why they're not in medical school or reapplying to medical school or not getting into their dream medical schools that they wanted to get into. Where conversely, you're the other applicant who's just run of the mill MCAT score, GPAs competitive, nothing outstanding, distinguishing, or anything like that. But they wrote a personal statement that hits home, hits hard, makes a connection with their reader, answers why medicine, why them, and AdComs are reading it like, oh my goodness, we have to meet this pre-med medical school applicant in person. Let's get them an invite to our medical school and hear more about their story. This is so unique, so compelling. And then you get in an interview, shine, and then you get your medical school acceptance, all because of what you decided to write about in your medical school essay. So it really can make the difference for you. And I want to walk you through this process of personal statement editing, revising, crafting a compelling essay that really meets the goals of your reader and AdComs, that pushes you forward and moves you top of the pile so you're one step closer to your acceptance to medical school. So stay with me, get ready to write, get ready to do revisions, and just remember we want to stay focused, and remember the goal at hand is to get into medical school, and writing is a process that takes time, takes considerate drafts and rewrites, but we want to make sure that we get it the best way possible because we only have one chance to submit your personal statement to make a positive and first impression on your reader. And that's what I'm here to help you with when it comes to your personal statement for medical school.